Hello and welcome. On the bench today I have a Logitech wireless keyboard. It's model KA30 and it's not working very well, so today I'd like to try and fix it. This is my own keyboard I use for my home theater, so a few years ago I wanted a keyboard with the trackpad and I couldn't find anything reasonable quality at a reasonable price, so I ended up with this, which if I remember right, used to be a very expensive keyboard. I have a feeling I paid it like £70, which is about, I don't know, $80, $90, something like that. So it's not a cheap keyboard, and unfortunately what happened over the past few months, some of the keys stopped working, but not all of them. The keyboard is connected to my Surface here, and you can see that most of the keys are working. So all the numbers are still working, thankfully. But then I've got something every now and then. I think the U is not working. IOP, this one is not working. Enter is not working, which I'd say it's pretty important. These are the keys not working. So we have three keys here altogether. Then we have the U, and then I think the L is not working. And going back this way, the D is not working. So we've got D, U, a few keys here. I think everything else is actually working. Let me see. Yeah, this is working. The shift, right shift is working. Left shift is working. Space is working. Delete is working. Well, back, whatever that's called, is working. Delete is working. Yeah, delete is working. Windows key is working. And I don't know anything else, but it's kind of weird because I have this, it's U, D, and this one, L, and Enter, basically. So they're not in a line or anything. Now I'm expecting, even this is a modern keyboard, to have the matrix inside. So I was expecting like a bunch of keys in the same place. Now we have definitely a bunch of keys here, but then we have D, U, and L, which are scattered throughout the keyboard. I don't know, I'm hoping it's something simple, because, well, maybe nowadays there is some cheap replacement, but I have it, why not? You know, I don't like to throw things away. So I've no idea how serviceable this thing is. Let's open it up and see whether we can do anything for it. And we are in, and this is a membrane keyboard. I was expecting actual switches. That's maybe why it really never felt very high quality when typing. Anyways, I think obviously we do have a matrix underneath. So hopefully, I don't know, hopefully it's just a bad contact here. Or there could be a broken trace on one of the two membranes, because if I see that right, this is rubber top, let's call it that way, and then we have first, let me decrease the exposure so you can actually see it. There we are, might be a bit better. So this is a rubber top, and when I'm typing, I'm basically depressing those bits. Those bits are basically pushing these buttons where this areas here, and we have two layers. Do we have two layers? Yes, we have two layers of plastic. And they basically make contact one with each other, and they close a line, and that's it. Then we have a microprocessor there, which is processing which line has been closed, and each one of these contacts matches a specific key. It's not rocket science. So either it's just a matter of cleaning these contacts, and it could be, but also I'd like to try and, how can I say, I'd like to keep it as my last resort, because I'm not sure how delicate these are, and my concern is I might remove some of the conductive material using isopropyl, or one of this line is this connector here where it connects to I think we have, one connector is for one of the layer and the other one is for the other one, and then they sandwich each other. And obviously I'm closing basically one line with the other one. I'm not sure whether I think we have like 4 keys on working, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. We only have 12 contacts here, and I think more or less we have maybe less here. So I'm not sure whether severing one of these lines is going to sever 5 keys only. But anyways, where do I start from? I think I'd like to try and mark the keys which were not working here on the top layer. And again, this is not touching anything, so it doesn't really matter. I use a small, a fine Sharpie, so I'm not damaging anything, I'm not spreading it onto anything. And see if by any chance those contacts are ending up all on the same line. I'm just curious. Before I just randomly try things, I'd like to understand a bit more. Alright, I ended up marking this on the lower layer, because on the top layer, obviously, I can't really see anything. Now this is the Enter key, and I think if I'm following the lines, the traces on this upper sheet of plastic, they're actually all linked together. So Enter key is not working, and if I'm following this line, it's going up to here, and it's going to this key here, which I think was the L key. And if I follow in this line this way here, is going to this one. So yeah, it looks like, as expected, to be honest, one of the lines is not working. So that would rule out a problem with the pads, because otherwise they belong to different lines, but they all belong to the same line. So either there is a crack somewhere, or there is just a bad contact here at the connectors. Now each one of the lines coming out of this connector is going to a matrix, a net of dots here, but then it doesn't go back to anything. So I don't think there's a way to check for continuity in here unless I'm pushing buttons, but we already know that this is not working. And I'd rather, I think this is very simple, very easy to damage. I'd like, I can try and remove them, these sheets, but also I'm concerned that if I'm using my multimeter probes on the other side of the sheet where the connections are happening, I'm concerned I might scratch the material and then it's not going to work for good. Right, this is going to be a bit difficult to see, but it is what it is. So I have wired a couple of probes here to these connectors to measure the line where this key here, and other keys I don't know, but I'm interested about this one, which is a working key. I'm using it as a reference. So if I'm pushing this one, it's my multimeter, which is in continuity mode, but it's the same. If I'm moving to resistance mode, it's reading the same thing. It's not beeping because it only beeps below 50 ohms, I think. But anyway, it's not the point. It's reading 100 ohms, so this is working totally fine. Now this key here happens to be, if I'm following the top sheet, which is the top connector here, on this line, which goes here and ends up on the second pin from the bottom, which is where my probe is connected. And then, if I'm following the bottom sheet, it's going this way, then I'm following here, down here, and then eventually it comes back here. I think it's the fourth from the bottom, which is where my probe is connected. Now the return key, which is this one, which is also not working, is also connected to this connector here on the second line. So this is telling me that the line, the top connector here is working, because another key on the same line is working. It's just it ends up on a different one on this connector. So the issue is, I would say, with this connector, because this is definitely working. The line on this connector is definitely working, unless there's a breakage somewhere here on the sheet, which is also possible. But this is definitely telling me that connection between the pin here and the sheet of plastic is working. There might be an issue between pin number 4 here and the sheet of plastic, or a crack somewhere on the sheet of plastic, because even if I'm moving this to resistance mode, it does read something, but basically nothing. It's reading 10 mega ohms, which I guess, I'm also reading the circuits on the right hand side on the PCB. And again, if I'm tapping this one, it goes down to 100 ohms, but if I'm pushing this one, that doesn't really do anything, does it? Perfect, okay. So my gut feeling says it might be an issue here. Again, I don't have a way to easily check with the multimeter. I would need to basically touch the trace. I really don't want to do it because I feel I'm gonna damage the trace the moment I touch it. So let me try maybe and reseat this ribbon here. Hopefully I'm not breaking it by doing it. Obviously nothing here is done to be serviceable. So let me try that, and hopefully that will fix our problem. I'm going to remove this connector here, which is wired to the USB. Yes, so that's this USB port to recharge the little battery, which you can't see, but it's here on the right hand side. Actually, no, that's not the USB. That is, I think those are the LEDs. What is this PCB on the top? It might be the backlight of the keyboard. The keyboard is backlit, but I see it says LEDs, LEDs, LEDs. So yeah, that's anyways, it's the backlight of the keyboard itself. Now removing that ribbon is going to be difficult Again, it's not designed to be removed, replaced, fixed, or whatever. I see there's a blue stiffer piece of plastic, but it's at the back, the bottom actually, of the ribbon cable. So let me try and use 2 screwdrivers here. I don't see any lever or anything to release the pressure like we did a moment ago to remove this ribbon here. So I think I'm gonna go, I'm gonna try something. Wish me luck, because I'm not sure about that. Okay, I think I managed to push out the ribbon and back in again. So hopefully that has cleaned the contacts inside. We can test that straight away. So this is working better. It's now reading 53 and enter. And enter is not reading. Why is it reading 53 now instead of 100 and something? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Right, I think I'm going to do what I said I wouldn't do, and I think I'm going to remove at least the top sheet. At that point, I should have access to everything, all the contacts and everything, because, yeah, this is a bit confusing. Top sheet shouldn't be too hard to remove. Oh. Okay, actually, I can see now that I think the top sheet is going under the PCB, so really I don't want to remove it, but I can actually like peel it, let's call it that way, from here. Yeah, I think it's safe-ish. There's some sticky stuff in here. Maybe a little bit of moisture. Yeah, I think it, oh. I see what looks like glue here. I'm not sure whether that's intentional from the factory to keep the sheets from separating, just here. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, oh my gosh, this has been glued from the factory. Oh no, I can't open the sheets. They're glued from the factory. There's one here and one here. The 2 dots of glue which are preventing me from separating the sheets. Okay, that's not simple, but I guess at this point I might be able to use the multimeter and touch those contacts. I'll have to touch the contacts. I need to understand what works and what doesn't, otherwise I'm not going anywhere here. So I would say let me replug this ribbon cable here, and then I can do continuity test between the pins on the connector here on the right hand side and the actual sheets. And just to check, this is still working and enter is still not working. Okay, let's see what I can do now. Alright, it's gonna be difficult to follow here, but I'm following the top connector here, the one connected to the black probe. If you can see that, that's the second from the bottom. And it's going here where I marked this little junction, going to this junction here, this junction here, then it continues this way, it's this line here, going round here, it goes to this pad here and continues here, and it goes to this pad here, and I think it stops here. And I'm definitely able to touch this pad on the other side because the glue is here. So number one, I got my multimeter. Let me find a creative way to show you the multimeter. There you go. You can hear it anyways. Now, first thing first, let me touch the contact here at the connector to make sure that I'm actually following the right pin. Yeah, I'm connected there. Now, let's lift the first sheet and touch this pad here. I'm reading 134. Is that what's supposed to happen? I definitely have a reading, which is good. I would say maybe I want to try a different line and confirm that that is a good reading. 134, let's remember that number. I've moved my probe on the third pin from the bottom, and I can see that this is going on. I think this is the F key lines, and it's going up to here. It's definitely going to this pad here and then this pad here. So let's try and touch that one and see if we read the same, similar resistance. Well, I'm reading 72. Yeah, it's like half of what the other one was reading. So could that be our problem? some sort of extra resistance. I'm not sure. I would say for now, I definitely have some connection between the connector here on the board and this pad. So it's not like completely open. Let's for the moment assume that this is fine. And let's check the other line where my return key or L key or what was the other one, U key is connected, which is on the bottom sheet. And hopefully we'll come to a conclusion there. Okay, well, I was able to separate the sheets. It was just a nightmare with those dots of glue, and not even glue. I think these were like soldered together, melted together. So let's try and follow something here, because I was a bit lost earlier on. That's when I decided to push my luck and separate the sheets. All right, well, that's a different thing. So I'm checking between. That's the enter line, let's put it away. So that's between the connector and the actual enter button on the bottom sheets. And it's reading 5 ohms. And bear in mind that these probes are reading a little something. They're not reading 0 when they're shorted together. So I'm reading 5 there. Let's see on the next pad what I'm reading. Well, next pad I'm reading 19, so maybe the reason I was reading 70 something here is because this is inevitably adding some resistance. Yeah, this is still reading 5, and shortly afterwards this is reading 19. So I'm curious now to see what the next pad is reading. Well, I found a pad here and this is reading 175. So probably the other line was fine, but this is also fine. So I don't know, maybe I'm checking something else. Let's focus on the enter button, which is just here. So this is definitely reading 5. And let's see what we are reading on the other connector. So if I'm checking on like the enter button, but on the other sheet, I'm reading nothing. Okay, that would be helpful. Yeah, I'm not reading anything. So I think I found the problem now. Am I definitely checking the right pin? Yeah, that's number 3. And the third 1, 2, 3. No, I need to check number 2. That was the wrong pin. That's why it didn't work. Well, I'm reading something. I'm reading 24. So this is supposed to work. I got 16 here because it's closer. And that this one, 24 again. It's more or less the same distance of the enter button. And I guess if I try this, I think it's the same on the same line. Yeah, 117, and this one should be a bit more. 135. Yeah, I mean, they seem to be working. I mean, one chance is that just by plugging, replugging things and moving things around, this is not working. Now, obviously, the other option is that this is all working. It's just that for whatever reason, the signal is not going to the processor, which I guess is this. Yeah, this is definitely getting the data from the keyboard. I would say let's quickly replug everything to the computer, just in case this is working, just by moving things around. I think I'm going to keep these wires disconnected. It doesn't matter. This is the light, and this is the touchpad. I don't care about touchpad. I just care about keys. So let me plug the computer and we'll test it again. All right, well, I think all I need to do is to turn on the keyboard here. Yeah, I have a green light. See if the delete key works. Was it this one, this one? Yeah, definitely working. Is the enter key working? Yes, it's working. Okay, this is one of those moments where things are fixed by itself. Which one wasn't working? The U key wasn't working. Now this is number 8. There we go. The U key is now working. And then, well, enter is working, and we had L not working. There it is. It is working. What else? We have some keys around here. That's enter. That's delete key. Yeah, the two, whatever these are called, one was not working. So this is working. Honestly, I'm assuming it was just a matter of replugging one of those two connectors, and I wasn't able to catch the issue with the multimeter, or chances are the resistance was slightly higher, just enough to cause the issue, but it was not possible to see that with the multimeter. And again, just by unplugging it and replugging it, I fixed it. Now, my question, I'd be tempted to use some contact cleaner in there. I think I think it's better if I'm not touching anything here. I think this is literally designed to fail. When you have those membrane sheets, they just fail by looking at them. So I don't think I'm gonna clean anything, touch anything, because chances are I'm gonna make it worse. So I think I can just reassemble it, test it, and it should be good to go. No, 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 of course something was missing. Hi. There was definitely something missing. That doesn't feel right. Oh no. Okay. Yes. There we go, the keyboard is working. Is the pad working? Yeah, this is working, this is working. Right click is working. Perfect, amazing. And well, let's see whether the backlight is working. Yes, it is working. Well, the backlight is coming up. I hope you can see that. It's coming up automatically when the keyboard is being used, and there should be, that's it, that's the level of the backlight. So it's minimum, medium, well, actually off, minimum, maximum, and off. And I hope you can see that. Yeah, you can definitely see that on camera. Perfect, fantastic. Everything seems to be working totally fine. That's it. Everything is working totally fine. I finally have my keyboard. I can use it and use it as a keyboard with all the keys, thankfully. And that was kind of a fun repair, even though I feel like it's kind of repaired it by itself. I would have liked to be able to see the problem, fix the problem, and then see the fixed problem. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I wish you a great day and hope to see you again soon here on my channels for my next videos. Thank you very much and goodbye. Bye-bye.